All right, played a lot of hands this week. I think I'm down $10 for today, but it's all right. So one of the first hands here, we got ace queen and a cutoff, right? So looking at this stats, I played a lot of hands with this guy here in the big blind. He likes to raise 3-bet 11%. So you see from the button small blind and big blind, he's 3-betting a ton of hands. Ton of hands. So I raise my ace queen and I get 3-bet and I'm in position here. So if we're going to look at an 11% range here, okay, let's put this up to about 11% and see what kind of hands we're talking about. There you go, 11.5%. So you can see a lot of Broadway, a lot of suited Broadway, ace 10 up to aces, sevens and higher. Okay, so a lot of different hands here that he's going to 3-bet. All right, and we're assuming when he's 3-betting this kind of range, he's basically 3-betting all of his solid hands. All right, so I have the ace of spades and the queen hearts here. Let's see where we're at. So I have 52% equity, so I guess it's pretty close here with ace queen. You know, doing this really kind of helps me a little bit because, you know, I could see that perhaps 3-betting 11% isn't, you know, that much from typical. I'm used to kind of full ring play. He's basically, you know, a strong range, you know, 11.7%. So he's kind of just going to 3-bet most of the hands instead of continuing. So let's see what happens here. You know, I decide I'm ahead. You know, I see a number like that, I'm thinking that's pretty loose, and maybe it's not as loose as it's not as bad as I kind of thought it was. I definitely shouldn't fold here. I have position, but I go ahead and 4-bet him, feeling that, you know, my hand's ahead of his range most of the time, and I would say that it is. You know, I'm ahead of him a lot of the time here. You know, the question comes in when he jams on me, which he does. This guy's going to go ahead and jam on me. Now, one thing I tend to look at, I should have looked here, he's a winning player right now. When he jams on me, okay, what's the right play to do now? You know, he's 5-betting 5% of his hands. So, you know, out of 8 opportunities, looks like he's done it 1 time, which is a different number. But let's take a look at what is he gonna, you know, what's he gonna jam with. Cleared it out. Obviously, ace king suited, ace king, kings, queens, jacks, maybe 10s. That's 3.5%. So I was just going to be a few more hands here according to his numbers. Ace queen suited, ace queen. I don't think those hands do it, but I think maybe 9s. So 9s and up to here, maybe not ace queen, right? Let's give him credit for not 8s and up. I don't think so. I'm going to go back with that ace queen number and not pocket 8s. So let's see how our range does versus this here. Not very good. So it looks like I need about 35% equity here to make this call. So I'm getting about 38%. You know, so it comes one of those things of once I decided to 4-bet here, I'm going with the hand. 38%. I have 35% equity. I was kind of thinking he was a little bit looser than that, to be honest with you. I mean, if we add any kind of ace jack suited to his range, any kind of bluffs, like a jack 10 suited, I mean, just adding those couple bluffs in there, it gets me right at 39%. So this is a close spot here. I make the call and it bricks out. for me. And I lose to pocket king. So not a very fun hand there, but I think I don't know, it's questionable. Would a hand this strong, I think maybe just calling is best and playing this kind of board. I'm going to be able to take it down from him a lot of times. Even if he's got a hand like ace king, ace queen, I'm going to be able to win the pot instead of just getting it in. So duly noted. All right, let's look at hand 2. Oh, look at what hand I got. Ace queen again. All right, so here we go. Now we get the cutoff. Call limps in. I make it $1. And this guy here, Giovanni, makes it $3 to go. Now, his 3-betting range here so far over 100 hands is not a lot. From the small blind, again, when I look at these numbers here, never on the button, not in the big blind yet, 2 times out of the small blind. So that seems, a lot of times you'll see where do they like to 3-bet from. He's in the small blind here. Folds a 3-bet. You see he's 5-bet already. He's got a 4-betting range. You don't usually see that on someone that's played 100 hands. If I looked at like, let's look at this guy's numbers here. When you look at his 4-bet, 5-bet range, you don't see anything in there at all. Like, he's never done it. It's not a move that most players have or do often. So let's look at here, Barry here, same thing, 100-something hands. He hasn't 4-bet, hasn't 5-bet. So, when I see someone that's doing that after 100 hands, okay, one of two things: either you're really hot or, you're really aggressive. And because it was a small blind was his thing, I figured he's just being really aggressive. Again, I got position on him. And I go ahead and 4-bet it again in position. And, when I'm looking at these hands now, this is probably something where with a hand like ace queen, I need to just be calling. Just call here. This is the bottom. This is the bottom of my 4-betting range here, pretty much, right? I mean, ace queen, besides some premium pairs here. And he rips it. He ripped it on me. And again, the same thing, 36% equity. I don't know that it changes a lot. So once you 4-bet a hand, you're kind of stuck in there. I'm pretty sure he had kings, right? No, actually, this guy had jacks in this hand. This guy ended up with pocket jacks. So in that case, with the hand he had, if he's going to shove jacks, I definitely have some equity in there. And, again, if I just call this flop, if I call here in position, I'm probably able to just take this away instead of giving him the chance to get in here with this kind of hand on me. Right? I could take it away from him using my position and using some poker instead of giving him the chance to just flip it. So another buying gone. Let's look at our next hand. This is an interesting hand. 6-5 of clubs in the blind. Let's see what we get in with. All right. Guy in a cutoff raises 62 cents. I decide to 3-bet it. I like calling with my medium strength hands and 3-betting some of my weaker ones, especially out of position, turning them into bluffs. And I could it makes it easy for me to play hit or miss out of position. Like if I totally miss this flop, I'll just give up. I might c-bet once and give up. I won't get connected, as opposed to a hand like, let's just say ace 10, and I flop an ace, you get kind of stuck. I end up getting cold calling by this guy, but this guy wasn't too good from playing with him. And everyone calls. So I get the best flop I could probably get here, right? 3-4, open-ended to the nuts, get a top end and a flush draw. I'm pretty sure with this kind of board, a queen eye board, I'm the 3-better. I'm gonna lead out. I'm probably gonna lead out about a half size pot here with most of my range. And I do. Just under. I get called. This is not a guy that's concerning me here. I get called 3 ways. So that's not that fun. I I do believe I bet again here. I mean, he calls. Not sure exactly what I should do. If I want to, do I want to get this shipped in here at some point? So maybe I think I go for a third size bet and then look to ship the river. I go a little bit more than that, half. So it's gonna be 18. Should be an easy shift. He raises, and this is the one, the kicker about it now at this point. It folds to me. This is saying look at this. I'm getting 5.1 to 1 with an open-ended draw and a flush card. So it's an obvious easy call for me to make. I make the call and brick the river. So I guess maybe I could have made this bet a little bit lighter. I brick it. I end up just folding here on the river, even though I hit my 5. I mean, he's not going to be min raising me anything, save myself that extra little buck. So we don't even know what he had there. And here, ace jack. I don't know if I wasn't really paying attention. Here's that same guy. It's the same guy as the last hand. Same player, GOVI. Ace jack of spades gets to me. Oh, nope, it wasn't him. Different guy, different shitty player. All right, so he calls me on the button. And I mean, I get a great flop here. Ace jack, top pair, backdoor flush draw. Just start betting this. Bet this hand for value here. Right? He calls the flop. I mean, this is just value town to me. Three of hearts. Can't assume that's going to do much of anything. No draws really. Backdoor flush draw. So I'm just going to bet it again. A little more than about 2/3 of the pot there. He calls again. Now the river is, it's kind of interesting. I decided to check this river here. I don't know why I decided to check the river. I mean, I really can't jam it. I just figured, what's he been calling me with here? I just thought he might just, I think in hindsight, I should be betting here, especially with this number here. I should just be betting for value. But I just thought, man, he doesn't have much of anything. So a lot of times in a situation like this, I'm thinking, well, I'll let him do the betting on a river when he's calling me. If he had some kind of draw, I don't know why he would have. Don't know what draw could have got there. 4 or 5. He doesn't have 4 or 5 is when I'm here. He just doesn't really have a lot. So really, I like betting here. I like just betting again, 2/3 pot. Why don't I check? And he fires out $7 and $9.51. But again, it's like, man, I don't know what this guy had here. I mean, I started thinking it can't be queens, right? I'm thinking maybe he's got king jack here. I beat 2 pair if he had 6, 7, right? Could he have had 4 or 5? I don't think so, unless he had like 4 or 5 of hearts, or something like that. So, I mean, easy call. And I make the call. Ace man TA3 has ace 3. So, yeah, it hit the 3 on a turn and just stayed with it and took down a nice little pot for me. And so those 4 hands there end up being, pretty costly. Ended up, if I pull over my my stats for today, down $11, up good in 25.50, down 11. So 552 hands. I'll play a little bit more later on and see if we can't get back to even. So some interesting losing hands. Poker fight.